Today I want to introduce to you my reading plan for 2023. Basically what I'm doing is I've divided the books of the Bible into each of its literary sections. So I have the Torah or the Pentateuch or the books of the law, which is the first 5 books of the Bible in one section. I have the history books in a section, the books of wisdom and poetry in a section. The books of the major and minor prophets are one section. The Gospels of the New Testament are one section. The book of Acts, which is the history of the church, is its own section. Then I have all of the letters, otherwise known as the Epistles, in one section. And then finally I have the book of Revelation in its own separate section. You can see I have this little homemade spread here that I've made for myself. I just got this Clever Fox planner, and I'm using the blank dotted pages in the back to do this spread. So I have here each month of this upcoming year listed out, and then I made a box for each day of the month for each month. So this way I can keep myself accountable to check off and fill in the box for each day that I do my reading. As you can see, I did already start it yesterday. And then in my 8 sections that I have here, the plan is to read 1 chapter out of each of the 8 sections daily. So it's 8 chapters a day, every day. And that way you're getting the full spectrum of the Bible in all its different categories, not just one tiny nugget, but you're getting the full, well-rounded version. As I'm going through each day reading each of the 8 sections, I'll just mark off my days to keep myself accountable here. And then as I get far enough to finish the books one at a time, then I will check off the box here, and that way I can keep track of where I'm at. And if I get to a point where I'm starting a book over, then I can just add more checkbox onto the side to mark that as well. Now I can show you how I have my Bible set up as well. This Bible that I have is an English Standard Version, ESV translation. This is my personal preferred translation. This Bible is just a thin line Bible that I got on Amazon. I like it because it's real small and easy to carry around, and it doesn't have a lot of distracting articles and stuff inside. It just has the Bible itself and the little footnotes. The way that I have this set up is each of these tabs is for each of these literary sections that I have marked in my book page over here. So I have the Torah, the books of history, the wisdom and poetry books, and the major and minor prophets, and then the Gospel, Acts, the Epistles, and Revelation. So every day as I flip into the section, so day 1 yesterday would be reading Genesis chapter 1. So for my first section here, I have Genesis, and then it goes all the way through, and the last book in this section is Deuteronomy. So as I'm reading a chapter each day, as I finish Genesis, I go into the next book and the next book and the next book until I get all the way to Deuteronomy. And then I have my post-it notes up here to mark my place within each section. When I get to this section, the end of the section, and hit this next post-it note, then I'm just going to start it over again. And that way I'm continually getting reading out of all 8 sections every time I read. So Genesis through Deuteronomy is the first section. And then for the books of history, it starts with Joshua and it goes all the way through until the last book, which is Esther. And then for the books of wisdom and poetry, it starts with Job here and it goes all the way through to the end of Song of Solomon here. And then for the major and minor prophets, it starts with Isaiah and it goes all the way through the end of the Old Testament to the last book, which is Malachi. And then we go into the New Testament. So there's 4 sections in the Old Testament, 4 sections in the New Testament. For the New Testament, we have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Gospels. And then, as I said before, Acts is just its own section right here. And then I have Romans, which goes all the way through to the last letter, which is Jude. And then Revelation is its own section as well. So that's how I have my setup here. And then I also wanted to include a tutorial for some really neat Bible apps. Anybody is interested in doing this. It's a pretty intensive, it's a lot of reading to do 8 chapters a day. Once you get the hang of it, it doesn't take as long. But if you haven't done it before and you're just starting, it can feel kind of overwhelming, especially if you're really, really busy, or if you have children or you're working multiple jobs or anything like that. So a really handy tool that I have that I want to introduce as well is the Holy Bible app by YouVersion. And here I'll give a little brief tutorial on how you can use this.